Are you ready, strangers?
Aye, Captain.
I can't hear you.
Aye, Captain.
I'm gonna kill Chaos. Who's coming with me?
Let's kill Chaos.
Our crystals resonate at the same frequency.
Let's kill Chaos.
If you get injured, I got plenty of spit.
Let's kill Chaos.
If you think Chaos isn't a man or a monster, bullshit.
So's at a slow.
Welcome, strangers. It's time to review Chaos. So, this has been a long time coming. I thought with the new DLC dropping, it would be a perfect time to do my review on Chaos finally. So, yeah, I will talk about my likes, my dislikes, and just what would make this game a 10 out of 10 for me, if it isn't already. Anyways, time to go wild, Jed. So before we get too deep, there's a little thing I like to do, and it's the menu test. If a game says press any button, I better be able to press any button. So this is the little thing I'm gonna test on my game reviews. I don't know why, but it just bothers me when you're not able to. And after some testing, I'm happy to say you can press any button, L3, R3, the triggers, and even the touchpad. So, it's a 10 out of 10, press any button menu screen. On to the likes. And the first one is the story. It was surprisingly good, despite how campy and stupid the trailers made it look. It was a little like obvious, like I could see where it was going, but that didn't stop me from wanting to see it till the end. So that was very cool. Combat was very satisfying, even though sometimes it was really tough. But more on that later. The many different jobs and classes you had allowed you to look at a situation from a different point of view, kind of. Like, there were some bosses that freaking kicked my ass, and I had to take a step back and rethink my jobs that I had equipped, and think maybe I found out a weakness about the boss, and I was like, I should probably just exploit that and find a job to kind of hit that weakness harder than my current thing, you know? And I thought that was pretty cool. Not being a person that plays Souls games or whatever, I found this pretty enjoyable. My personal favorite job was Paladin. It allowed you to have your sword and weapons and just go in there and attack, but its special skill allowed you to heal yourself with every attack, which I liked a lot because I was always dying. So if I could run in there, and then all my attacks heal me, I'm covering my own butt. But also, it was nice to step back and also be a mage. I think it's actually Sage, which has both the white and the black mage, which was pretty nice after a while. Definitely helped me out a lot. But I think the best thing about combat was the feeling of parrying things. Vulgar warning here, but there was a fucking piece of shit boss that rocked me for like a week straight.
I know its name. Tiamat.
And it really pissed me off and I wanted to quit many times. But on the flip side of that, since I got killed by everything, I ended up knowing how to parry everything after a while. And that's just really cool. That's what I call power. And so just the feeling of taking what's been killing you and using it to your own advantage was a really satisfying feeling. And a little bit on that boss thing, it was really interesting to see what bosses my friends really struggled on and which ones they easily beat, because it seems like it was fairly different for all the people that I talked to, which is my small group of friends, but still, the diversity between us on bosses was pretty cool to see, except like a couple. But it was also kind of validating to hear them, because like there was ones that kicked my butt and it's like, oh yeah, I had a little trouble on that one, and then there was other ones where I beat it first try and they were like, what? But that was pretty cool. Oh, and on that, it's a really great co-op experience. A great game to play with the boys. So on to the dislikes. Even though I said I really liked the story, part of the story is also a dislike for me too. It leaves a lot to be understood. Like, there's a lot of lore stuff going on behind the scenes that you can only really understand if you pick up every document and thing. Like, you have to read the backstory. And it's also, like, easy to miss some of these. Like, I just checked earlier today and I was missing, like, a good handful. So, that really sucks because there's a lot of stuff that isn't really spoken to in the actual story. So you have to read those to understand it. And also just reading in general. Like my ADHD brain can't retain like anything I read. So if I have to read more than a paragraph, like it's not gonna stick in my head. So that really sucked. But other than that, the story was good, but there are some holes that you need some backstory to understand. I watched a video on it, and it made me understand it made me appreciate the game even more, but I wish that I didn't have to go to an outside source to figure that out. Other than that, there's not much I didn't really like. One thing I like to do in games is there's items and weapons that are important to me, and I want to keep them like throughout the game. Like Cloud's Buster Sword or Zack's Buster Sword, I kept it in memory to be his living legacy. Tidus's Brotherhood, that's one of my favorite weapons ever. Joker's knife that you get from getting rid of Arsene. Since I played Smash with Joker and Arsene was my buddy, he's not that great in Persona as a Persona, so like making him a weapon was the only way I could keep him with me all the time. So like stuff like that, my personal preference, I like to keep stuff that I think looks cool or has like sentimental value to me. And in this game, there was some really cool like cosmetic looks, and like the game's hard. So like I couldn't keep those cosmetic looks because I had to constantly be grabbing new equipment that was stronger and helped me out in battle or pertained specifically to my class I was using at the time. So if there was a way to like keep the cosmetic looks that you like but use that new equipment. In the definitive version of Xenoblade, they actually did that, where you could have any equipment and then you can make it look like any equipment that you've gotten or picked up previously, which is really cool and definitely would work out for this game. But that's a really personal preference, I suppose. Other than that, the fact that you didn't get a map to know your location in the stage, I got lost a lot, and especially in a specific Final Fantasy 13 world, it was very confusing, and there was two versions of the world where the sun was shining and there was rain, and it changed how the world or the map worked. So having a map that detailed where to go a little bit better would have been very helpful in that stage and some others. But talking about that stage, that's another dislike. Some of the lighting in the stages, especially the 13th stage when the sun was shining, it just looked really bad. And there are some shots of the characters that also look pretty janky for a PS4, PS5 game. I played on the PS4, so maybe it looks better on the PS5, but there were quite a few cutscenes where the characters' eyes were like glowing, and it wasn't part of the story. It was just weird. But yeah, also one other time, I fell through the entire stage and was just walking on the ground. I actually made a video of it if you want to go watch it. But that was interesting. The only way I could get out was restarting the whole mission, and I think I was nearing the end of the one that I was on. So that kind of sucked. But other than that, I have a weird complaint. It's that some of the bosses were super freaking hard, and a good handful of them I beat on the first try. Which You'd think I'd say I hated the ones that were hard, but, well, yeah, I did. Fuck you, Teammate. The frickin' Element Twins on the Final Fantasy 13 stage, those guys frickin' sucked. But I actually didn't like the ones that I beat first try. Like, not struggling on them made them pretty forgettable. And it's a strange feeling, actually. I didn't get a chance to learn their, like, moves and build a strategy, so they don't, like, solidify themselves in my mind, you know? You feel good because you don't want a Tiamat situation, but at the same time, I'll never forget that freaking piece of shit. So yeah, that's a kind of weird complaint, but it's the end of my complaints. Future Tarot here. I just wanted to give a little context before I get into the 10 out of 10 thing. What you're watching on screen right now is a fight between myself, Gil, and Noct, fighting that freaking bastard Tiamat. Since the DLC came out, this video is late, obviously. You have to grind to get your level higher, so Noct said we should just play some matches together, and it was Gil's genius idea that we fight Tiamat, which we didn't want to do, but it actually turned out pretty rad. I was kind of the MVP because I fought this piece of crap so many times. I taught them, like, tips and stuff on how to deal with stuff and what to parry, and it was actually really fun. We stayed up until like 5 a.m. in the morning fighting this piece of crap because it was still tough, but it was also on Chaos difficulty, which is the hardest. So yeah, it was still super fun, and my stupid brain forgot to save it. So this isn't the final match that we won on, but it's still an awesome match, so hope you enjoy. So, if this game isn't a 10 out of 10, what would make it a 10 out of 10 for me? Polished visuals, more backstory and lore that's actually in the game and not just documents that I have to hopefully pick up. A map for stages so I don't get lost, and better menus. Actually, my boy Noct brought this up to me, but he said like you should be able to go to Corneria and go to like some like locations and stuff, like the smithy. The smithy is just in a menu, and you don't talk to anyone, you just do it yourself. And you spend a lot of time in menus in this game, so it's like if you could go to different shops and like buy weapons or like a visual smithy. Like I think there's even a voice actor for the smithy at one point, but I guess they canned that or something. So yeah, that would make it more immersive and like make me feel for the side characters a little bit more. Oh, the side characters, sorry. I didn't even mention this, I totally forgot, but characters other than Jack didn't really like have a backstory. Like, well, not didn't really have a backstory, but didn't really have character. Like Ash and Sophia, like I didn't care about them at all. I just had Sophia in my party because she was a mage and I needed that to cover my butt. But I liked Neon and Jed cosmetically, but like they didn't really do anything for me or the story really until the end. Until the end, they're pretty bland, all of them. But at the end, then they really step up, and that's cool. But yeah, that would have been nice. So that's another thing that would help make this a 10 out of 10 for me, just giving them more character and more life. And then the cosmetic options that I said before would help it. And I think that's about it. That would make this game a 10 out of 10 for me. But what do I rate it without those changes? I rated it... I'm not gonna tell you, because if I rated it, then you would be able to know if it's gonna be in the Reaper Rewards or not. And I want that to be a surprise. So, by giving a rating, I would kind of ruin my later video that I think is gonna be pretty fun. But, yeah, so hang on. It's not a waste. You don't have to leave, because at the end of every review, I'm going to do something fun at the end. It's usually going to be a fan dub because I'm also a voice actor. So, yeah, this time it is a fan dub, and you know exactly what scene it is. So thank you to StrawberryKittyVA for the voice of Neon, and thank you for watching my review. Make sure to comment and say what you thought of the game if you played it, or tell me how the DLC is, because I probably won't be able to get it right away because I'm poor. But anyways, thanks for watching my video. Later, losers. Time for the reveal. Wait. My crystal. It's her. Yeah, just like before. Huh. Mine's going crazy.
I'm Neon. And not Chaos. Guess I was right.
Feels like there's a story behind that.
My allies and I set out to rid the land of chaos. But the journey took its toll. One by one we fell, until only I remained. It was then that I finally realized the truth. Chaos isn't a man or a monster. Chaos is just a fairy tale. The darkness, the beasts, this despair that eats away at people's hearts. It's easy to blame a single thing for all that. It gives people hope to think that the world can be saved with a single heroic deed, even if it's never that simple. So I decided to become a sacrifice. I offered myself to the darkness and prayed to become chaos, hoping some band of heroes would defeat me, and thus bring an end to this world's empty dream.
Bullshit.
So you think you can ride this chocobo? Got choco bunch of men, I put them on the choco. Settle up if you think you can ride in this rodeo.
He's out there. I can feel him. I just have to keep looking. I'll find him.
I'm coming too. When darkness fails the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. And I only count 3 of you.
We don't need someone whose heart's not in it.
Then show me chaos. Do that, and I might even start to respect you.
Deal. We better get back to the castle. Wouldn't want to disappoint our patrons.